Most business owners don't mind working hard, but nobody wants to chase down payments. The good news, High Level makes it effortless. In just a few clicks, you can create a branded payment link, send professional invoices, and let automations handle all the follow-up for you. No more awkward reminders, no more wasted time. In this session of Walkthrough Wednesday, I'm gonna show you not only how to set up payments inside High Level, but also some hidden strategies that turn every invoice into a trust building, sales boosting tool. So I am excited to get dived in. Everybody see my screen there that says High Level Payments Made Simple? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And this is a fantastic PDF that Cameron and the team put together for you guys to go along with today's training. I'm not going to drop the link to this right now. I will drop it later in the video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, stick around, make sure you like, subscribe this video wherever you're watching it. And then a little bit later, I'll drop the link so you can download this and have notes and all the processes that we're going to cover today. But I think you guys are really going to love today's training because we're going to dive into high level payments and one of my favorite subjects, which is getting you paid. That's really kind of our goal, right? We always talk about offline sharks, like people talk about, we talk about revenue producing activities and various things like that. But the reality is, like, if you're not sending out invoices, then something is wrong with your business, right? You have to be sending out invoices. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how High Level makes it super duper easy. So we're going to start off by just setting up the basics, the 3 basics that you need to make sure you have going inside of High Level. By the way, if you have questions, you can post your comments in the webinar chat. But if you have questions you'd like me to answer live, just pop them in the Q&A and I'll get to those. Okay. But I can see all your chats and everything. Donald, Carolyn, Jean Paul, welcome. So we're going to dive right in. So first up, High Level makes collecting payments using custom payment links, invoices, all that stuff super, super easy. So you can spend less time worrying about it and get on with running your business, doing all the revenue producing activities of being those clients in. So one of the first things you want to do when you set up a High Level sub account to prospect is set up your payment platform. So I am inside my High Level sub account. So I'm not at the agency level. I'm inside, this would be the sub account for your agency. So you can see this is Tom's High Level instruction account, but this would be the account where the business that you want the invoices to be branded to and that you want the invoices to come from. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is connect a payment processor, and High Level makes this super duper easy. In this left-hand menu, if you just scroll down here to the bottom one, payments, like there's this top section. If you click payments, you'll see the payment dashboard and all the different options that you have with payments and High Level here. But on the far right, you're going to see this integrations. You just click that and this will pull up all of the payment processors that High Level currently integrates with. And then you just select the one you want and you click the little connect button on the right and it'll walk you through some windows to connect them. So you can see I've already connected a PayPal account to this, but you can use Stripe, you can use Authorize.net, MEI, there's manual payment methods, Square is an option. And then you can even click this search for more and it will pull up even a whole nother list, all kinds of payment processors for non-US countries, all kinds of things there. So there's a lot of options here for your payment integrations. So that's the first thing you want to do, set up a payment integration. As you can see, I've already got PayPal set up here. So the next thing we're going to want to do is connect your accounting if you have like some type of accounting platform. So we use QuickBooks. So I'm going to show you how you would connect QuickBooks, but you can connect to other accounting platforms as well. If you don't have an accounting platform, no worries. Maybe your business isn't to that point yet. Maybe you're not at that point of having one. Then you just skip this step, right? This isn't a must-have, but it is nice if you're tracking your accounting through some type of a system. So to connect an accounting platform, we're just going to go down here to settings at the very, very bottom of the menu. And we're going to click on integrations, which is in this other settings. And then you'll see these are all the various things that integrate with High Level. And so right here is QuickBooks. I can just click connect and connect my QuickBook account. There's some other financial ones here as well. So you can connect these integrations right here so that High Level and your accounting software talk to each other and the invoices and all that stuff gets transferred over. All right. So that would be step number 2. So step number 1, payment processor. Step number 2, connect your accounting software if you have it. And step number 3 is also another optional item. If you have team members, if you're an agency owner who has multiple team members, or maybe you want to give a client access to something in a sub account, then you're going to want to create a user, right? You'll have additional users in the account. So it's important that you go in and see what the user roles and permissions are, and make sure that your users are not seeing information that you don't want them to see, or that they have the ability to do things that you don't want them to do. So right now I'm going to show you how to set up user roles and responsibilities. So the way we do that, again, we're in the sub account where we're going to be sending our invoices from. We're going to go down here to settings at the very bottom, and you're going to see this My Staff under My Business. I'm going to click on that. And if you are the owner of the high level account, like the agency owner, you'll probably just see yourself as a user here. But you can see I've created a test user so I can show you what to do here. So if you had a team member that you wanted to add to do things in your high level, you'd just click this add user button and you'd create a user profile for them. And if you click this little pencil, you can edit those user profiles, right? And you'll notice the second item here is roles and permissions. So you have two options with a user. They can be a user or an admin. So as a user, you're able to control not only what they can do, but also what they can see inside the sub account. So you'll see if I go down here, these are all the things I can turn on or off for specific users inside a sub account. So here's all the AI stuff I can do. Here's the account settings, account tools, automations, blogs. I mean, you can pretty much turn on or off just about everything that a person could access in a sub account. But if we keep going down here, we're going to find there's a section for payments. So here's payments. I can either allow them to view and manage payments or take that away. I can allow them to record payments or take that away. I can allow them to view and manage payment invoices, or I can take that away. I can also have payment settings here, right? They can view payment settings, configure receipt settings. These are all things I can turn on or off. And this product section applies to invoices and payments as well, but we'll get into that in a minute. So I have the ability to turn these items on or off too. Now, sometimes I see inside the Facebook group that people want to give a client access to the client's sub account. So this is also how you would determine what your client can and can't do in your sub account. So why would that be important? Well, let's say you have a client, but like you don't want them messing anything up. Let's say that you have set up an AI agent for them, right? Well, you might not want your client to be able to go in and just start messing around with the prompt and mess things up for you. So you can create a user. That's how your client will access their sub account. They'll have a user and that'll give them a username and a password, and they'll be able to log in just to this sub account. They won't see anything else in your high level, just the sub account, and they'll only see the things that you turn on or off here. So you can let them view and manage AI agents, or you can just turn that off and they'll never even see them. So there's no chance of them being able to go in and mess that up. But this is also where you manage the roles and presses. Does that make sense to everybody? Paul, that's a great question. Cameron, do you know off the top, I don't know this answer to this off the top of my head. Do you know, can you connect multiple payment processors? I think you can, because I'm pretty sure in the invoice settings we can set a default, but I don't know that for sure.
I think you can too. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah. Teresa says, would a VA have admin permissions or make choices as needed? Teresa, that's up to you. You're the business owner. You have to decide that. What do you want the VA to be able to do? Just know that an admin is a very powerful set of permissions. So they can basically just do whatever they want in that high level sub account. So there would need to be a very good level of trust and monitoring if you're going to make someone an admin. So it's entirely up to you. That's why they set it up this way, so that you can control what they can and can't access and what they can and can't do. So you have to decide, do I want to make them a user and admin? It also depends on what tasks are they performing for you? What are they doing? All that kind of stuff as well. So you have to pick those. Okay. What does that checkbox mean below roles and permissions? Or you think you're talking about this restrict data visibility to only assign data? So when you check this, so you keep this checkbox disabled if you want the user to have access to all records in the account, or enable the checkbox to limit their visibility to only the records assigned to them, such as tasks, contacts, opportunities, calendars, etc. Maurice, this would be for, let's say that you have multiple team members in one sub account, okay? But you don't want one team member seeing what the other team member is doing for whatever reason. Like, you want each team member to just have access access to only the data that is assigned to them, only the tasks that are assigned to them, only the things that are in their realm of responsibility. So you could turn this on, and that's what that would do. They would not see any other data related to any other users or anything going on in this sub account. They would only see data related to the things that are assigned to them. Okay. All right. So that's how we check those. So those are our first 3 items that we want to get out of the way, right? So the main one, connect your payment processor. If you have an accounting system, connect that. And then if you have team members or other users in your account, make sure you go in, set your roles and permissions so that they're only accessing the data and the things that you want them to access. Okay. Now we get to do the fun part, which is creating the invoices. So to create an invoice in high level, again, you're going to use this left-hand menu and we're going to go to payments. Now, this opens up the high-level payment dashboard that I showed you earlier. You'll see there's a series of things across the top. Some of these have drop-downs, right? Invoices and estimates, documents and contracts, orders, subscriptions, payment links, transactions, products. We'll talk about this in a minute. Coupon settings, integration. So we can click on settings here to get to these settings, or we can just click on this little gear button right here that says settings, and it takes us to the same place. So these are the global settings for any invoice that you create in this sub account. So here's where you can set up the business information for this specific sub account. So you can add a logo, obviously business name, phone number, address, a website, all of these things. This is basically what's going to be populated in the invoices that you create. Okay. Below that is email configuration. So here we can set up the from name. So I can make this, I want all my invoices to come from Tom Gaddis, and I want them to come from tom@tomgaddis.com. So I can set this here, click save. Now every invoice I create, this is going to be the from name. This is going to be the from email. Title and terms. Right now, the default title for an estimate is estimate. The default title for invoice is invoice. So if I want to punch these up or use different titles on a global level for all my invoices, I can come in here and edit all that stuff here. I can add terms and notes, all of that stuff, right? I like how they tell you to make sure to include please and thanks. That's really nice of them. So this is how we edit those. Then the payment settings. So there's several things that we can do in here for estimates. So if you're sending an estimate, you can set your estimates to expire after a certain amount of days. You can change this estimate prefix. With your invoices, you can say the invoice is due after X amount of days. I'm going to set this to 0. Here's your invoice prefix. You can manage the default Stripe payment methods for your invoices. So if I click on this, it will allow my customers to pay via all valid payment methods or only by bank transfers. Okay, so there's an option there. And then I can toggle these options on as well. I can allow partial payments or I can not allow partial payments. And you can see that I can set a minimum percentage for a partial payment. So I could say, look, I'm going to allow partial payments, but they have to be 50%. Right? I can charge late fees. So if an invoice gets paid late, a 1% charge every month after invoice is overdue with grace period of 10 days. I can manage that. Obviously, I can change these things right here. I can make it a flat fee or I can make it a percentage, right? I can allow tips or not allow tips, right? So that's another option I can do there. I'm not going to do this as well. So I'm just going to click save here. Next up are product settings. So we're going to talk about this in a minute, but products are like the way that you determine what you're charging for what service. So like if you want to sell an AI chatbot, you're going to have to create a product for an AI chatbot. We're going to set the prices. I'm going to show you how to do all that. So I'm going to turn on import product description, make product description optional. I'm just going to click save there. I think these are normally on by default, but I usually just leave them on. And then in the invoice section, high level has, oh, what happened here? Okay, reminder settings. There we go. So they have built-in reminder automations right in the payment menu and area. So we don't have to go try to create a separate workflow or anything like that. This is for if someone pays an invoice and they don't store a payment method, right? Like they're not set up to have their card automatically deducted every month, then these are the reminders that they'll get. And so you can edit all these. You can edit the names. There's templates. You can edit everything about these, when they go out, the times they go out, all of that stuff, right? And there's, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3 reminders that come out here. You can add more if you want. So you can just build this out right here. But this is the reminder. So if you send an invoice, they don't pay it, this sequence gets triggered. And then in the custom fields section, if you have custom fields that you want to add to invoices, you can do all that right here. And then finally, there's a notification section. So there's customer notifications. So these are things that your customer will receive, okay? And then there's team notifications. So these are internal notifications to your team that happen whenever invoices are sent, paid, all of these different things. If they failed, like this is an important one, right? An invoice failed. You want to be notified of that, or you want your team to be notified so they can follow up, right? So high level makes it super easy to do all of this stuff right inside the global settings. Ricardo, yes, that's the payment processor I showed that I had linked. So yes, you can link it to high level. That's the one that I showed was linked, right? So if you go to payments, integrations, you'll see the one that I have linked is PayPal right here at the top. Okay. All right. Let's see. So it says in the reminders, you have 3 or 4. If the client pays the invoice, will the system stop? Yes. If the client pays, it stops sending the reminders. Okay. So there are 2 different ways to do reminders in high level, just so you know. So one is to use the built-in reminder system that's here in the payment section. The other way is to create a workflow and use invoice actions to trigger the workflow. So sometimes when you do it that way, there can be some issues there that you have to sort through, like making sure it stops if certain things happen and stuff like that. But with this, that's all in there. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to payments. All right. Now we're going to do the fun job of creating a one-time invoice. So this would be an invoice just for a one-off service. So how many people out there, let me know in the chat, anybody out there doing like pre-built websites or like a one-off service that you only need to charge a one-time fee for? Let me know in the chat. Let me know what it is. I want to see what you're doing. I don't see anything coming in yet. Website. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Websites. Okay. So this would be an option for sending an invoice. And then I'll show you how to do a payment link for this as well. So just a one-time payment. So we have a couple of ways to get to creating a one-time invoice. One is we got to use this blue button that says new. And then we have new invoice, new recurring invoice, or import invoices using CSV. We're just going to click new invoice. And it's going to open up basically like an invoice builder is how you want to think about this. So you can see I can edit all the information over here. So I can edit any of the business information if I want to customize it for this specific invoice. I can edit the numbers, the dates, right? We have everything here. I can also, edit things up here. I can change the name. So we're just going to change this to Tom Invoice, right? So we've got that. And now we need to, you can see right now it's just showing 0. This on the right shows you exactly what your invoice is going to look like. Now, had I put a logo and different things like that in the global settings, you would see that reflected over here, right? So let's add a product. So we have a pre-built website. What are you guys charging for your pre-built websites? Somebody give me a price. $5.99. Rick says $5.99. Okay, so we'll set this up for $5.99. So all we have to do is click add product. And then since we don't have any products created, we're just going to click create product. And I'm going to call this pre-built website. I'm going to say this is digital goods. I'm going to do the price name. Pre-built. I'm just going to say it's a 5-page website. And then I'm just going to put in the amount. So we're going to put in $5.99. Okay. And then I can select a tax category. You know, I highly recommend that you get with your CPA or a qualified person to see if you need to be doing this. I'm just going to see if there's, here we go. Website hosting. We'll just make it website. We'll do this. Okay. So now once I create this product, I can save it for later use, which I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to click save. Now you'll see my one-time invoice has been updated and it says $5.99 here as well. Right now, I can also add additional options here. I can add terms and conditions. Like I can put in my terms and conditions. For instance, I could make this invoice so they can pay 50% now and 50% later, right? I can add tax. So if I want it to do like there's a tax payment settings, I can have it add tax automatically, right? So again, For the taxes, you need to contact a CPA or someone qualified. I'm not an attorney. I don't know any of that stuff, so I can't go into detail on that. But you can set all of that up right in your invoice. And then I can also add a payment schedule if I want. Again, there's the LART fee, late fees, include tipping, and I can add an attachment if I want as well, right? So once I have this, I can save my invoice. Oh, I need a customer. I'm going to send this to myself. Oh, here I have a test customer. There we go, right there. We'll send it to that. And then I'm just going to save this invoice. Invoice saved successfully. And now, if I want to send this invoice, I can just click this send. And all I have to do is decide how I want to send this email. Now, this particular sub account is my demo sub account for these types of trainings. So I don't have A2P enabled on here, and I don't have a phone number. So if I had a phone number and I had all of that stuff, I could decide whether to send the invoice by email or text. So I would have both of those options, and then I can pick the email template and I can do that. And then I just click send and I'm ready to go. So I can send it both by email and text, or email or just text, right? And it's also going to, right, there's the email it's going to and all that stuff. Okay, does everybody follow me on that? Yes, we're good. Oh, trying to get my little thing to pop up here, but I don't know why my Q&A thing popped away. Okay, all good. Everybody's with me. Very, very straightforward, right? So single invoice, very, very straightforward. So let's talk about a recurring invoice. So recurring invoice, pretty much the same process. You click on the new, this time you select new recurring invoice. And now you'll see the exact same setup, right? So we select a customer, we can edit everything, and then we need to add a product. So I'm going to click add a product. Now you'll see right here, we have our pre-built 5-page website because that's the product I created earlier and I saved it, but this isn't recurring. So I'm going to create a recurring product. We're going to say website. We're going to do a pre-built website, but we're going to charge them monthly. Okay. This is going to be digital goods, monthly website. And I'm going to charge, let's say, I know at the agency, we charge $120 a month for this, but let's just say I want to do $59.99 a month because we had $5.99. Let's see, we did $5.99 or something. Actually, I'm going to do $79.99. So it's slightly more if they pay monthly, but it's not like a big difference, right? And then I'm just going to select the same tax category that we had here before. Where'd it go? And then I'm just going to save this for later use, and I'm going to click save. And now you can see I've created an invoice that is for $79 a month. Okay. And then everything else here, exactly the same. Oh, what did I forget to do? Please select an interval. Oh, I haven't selected an interval type. Okay. So how often do I want to get them paid? So I want this to be monthly, and then I can select the start date. So let's say we start this on, oh, I'm going by years here. Let's start this. Oh, I keep doing that. I don't want to do that. Let's start this on October 1st. And then we'll just say never is the end date. And we'll send the invoice 15 days ahead of time. Okay. And then again, I can save all this stuff. Please select a number of weeks. How often? Every 1 month. I think that's what they're asking there, right? So nice about high level. If you don't have things set up right, you can change this. So now we've got our invoice set up, and it's the same process to send it, right? I can just click schedule and this will start going, right? So this is how often: monthly, on a date, on the 1st of every 1 month, okay? And then it's going to start in October. That's why it says schedule and not just send. If I change this to September, then I should get a little different thing here. Yeah, schedule, and it'll start on the 10th. Okay, everybody with me there? So James, that's what we're going to talk about next. So James has a great question, and I see this one a lot in, the reminders are easy. So you do that in the global settings like I showed you earlier. So you set the reminders up there, and whenever you create an invoice, those just automatically happen with every invoice. You don't have to set them up for each individual invoice. So Dawn, once you set the reminders up in your global settings, once you set them up here, every invoice that you create, if the person doesn't store their credit card information and they have to pay it every time you send it, it will send out these reminders. Okay. So if a person just puts their credit card in and you have it on file, or High Level has it on file, then it doesn't send reminders because it just automatically charges their card every month. So maybe I didn't explain that very well, but That's how you would want to do it, right? They have the option to either store their card or they can get an invoice every month and just pay it. If they're just getting an invoice every month to pay and they don't pay, then it sends the reminders. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So you guys are jumping ahead. I love the eagerness. We're going to get there. I see people asking about what we're going to talk about next, which is, let's say that you want to have a one-time fee and a monthly recurring on the same invoice. How the heck do you do that? Anybody out there want to see that? I'm guessing probably so, right? Ramon says, got here late. Yeah, Ramon, this will be on our YouTube channel. Go back and watch the beginning of the training. I talked about how to connect the payment processor. So James, I'm going to show you how to add a one-time setup fee and a recurring fee on an invoice right now. So we're going to do that. Lance says, I don't like recurring invoices. I asked to manually agree to the payment. Yeah, you can do subscriptions too. We'll talk about that in a minute. Can you explain how to make contacts for ongoing services? Oh, contract. Okay, so I don't really have time to cover contracts today. Today, we're just talking about payments and invoices, but maybe search the group for contracts where I've made some posts in there, shared some contracts. Also, you might want to go to our YouTube channel and take a look on there too. There might be some information on there as well. But today, I'm going to focus on the payments. All right. So, okay. So let's do a setup fee plus recurring. So we're back in our sub account, right? So to do a setup fee and recurring, we want to start with a recurring invoice. So we're going to click new recurring invoice. We're going to select a customer. I'm going to use my test customer. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a product and I'm going to add our pre-built website at $5.99. Okay. And then I'm just going to add an additional product and I'm going to do our monthly website that we saved. Okay. And so now you can see that this invoice is a $5.99 one-time fee, and then it goes to $799.99 a month. So that is how we do recurring and a one-time fee. So you have to start though with a recurring invoice. You cannot create a one-time invoice and add multiple products that require recurring billing. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. So you have to use a recurring invoice for this, but you can add a one-time fee and then a monthly. All right. And then you do the same things down here. You select how often, all that stuff. Okay. And then this will charge them a one-time fee, and then they'll have to start paying monthly. All right. Okay. Carolyn says, if they have a CC on file, how do you add an automatic reminder they will be charged? Carolyn, you would just either have to set up a workflow or you'd set up a workflow that would send them a thing beforehand. You can do that pretty easy. We'll talk about workflows with payments and things here in a second. Okay. All right. So that's how we do the one-time setup fee and a recurring, right? We do it that way. Everybody is with me there, right? Okay. Awesome. So let's talk about payment links. Oh, so Lance mentioned subscriptions. So let me just briefly touch on this because I wasn't really going to go into a lot on this, but you can also keep track of subscriptions, right? So you can add subscriptions and then they can sign up, right? So this little thing just walks you through this. I'm not going to go into, I didn't really plan on going into a lot of detail on this because mainly people here are going to be looking for invoices and payment links. So that's kind of what we're focusing on today, but you can set up subscriptions as well. Okay. And also for those of you asking about contracts, you can add them here. Here's some, like, you can create a template for documents and contracts, things like that in here as well. Okay. They don't have any templates. You just got to make it and put it in there. All right. So let's talk about payment links. So over here in the top menu, I'm going to go to payment links. And this is like, hey, we don't want to send an invoice. We just want to shoot somebody a payment link, maybe for a pre-built website or a pre-built website and a monthly recurring. So very similar to the same process of creating an invoice, okay, is you just go create a payment link. You have to select a product. So we already have these products that I created when we were making the other invoices. But if you haven't created a product yet, you'll need to create the product first. Okay, so to do a payment link, you have to have products in your products section. So you can see these are the two that we generated that I saved while I was creating the invoices. But if you haven't created any invoices and you don't have any products, it's no biggie. You just click create product and you can fill in all of this information right here. It's got everything. Okay, and then you just click save and then you'll see your product here. And then when you go to make a payment link, you'll be able to select that product from this list. Okay, so we're just going to do a one-time payment link for $5.99 for our pre-built website, right? On the right, this is what this is going to look like when the person clicks the link. And again, I have options here. I can edit all of these options. If I want to make this a one-time setup fee and recurring, I can just click add another product. I can add the monthly on here. Now we've got both of those, right? I can delete this. We can set all of our options, right? We can require them to add a phone number. We can collect their address. We can allow or not allow coupon codes. We can redirect them to a custom URL after they purchase. And then there are some advanced options here. We can change the call to action from pay to book to donate. And then there's branding down here. We can change this, obviously, right? We can add terms and conditions, automatic deactivation, and we can set the payment mode to test or live, okay? So that's how we do it. Once we have a payment link set up, then we just click save, and then we can preview it. This is what it'll look like when they click the link, okay? I'm getting this message because the PayPal I have connected is just a sandbox PayPal. It's not a live PayPal. So that's why that message is coming through. But if I want to send the link, I just click copy and send. I can copy these links and share them. I can get a personalized payment link for a contact, or I can send this link to a specific contact in my high level, right? Like my test customer. I can just go to send to contacts, find the person I want to send it to. I can send it to them email and SMS, email or only SMS. I can make the subject line, all that stuff, and then just click send. Okay. Jan says, can you save an invoice template one time and recurring? Yes, Jan, absolutely. So if you wanted to do that, I'm going to go back out of here. So you can create your own templates. So under this main invoice menu, there's this templates. If you just click new template, it will open up the invoice editor. But what we're doing right here is creating a invoice that we can use over and over and over and over again, right? We're not just creating a one-time invoice. So if I go in here and edit this however I want, and I'm going to make it the pre-built website, I'm going to add our monthly website fee. So $5.99, then $80 a month. I can set up all of the things that I want in here and then just click, I'm going to call this Tom's template, and I'm just going to click save. And now you can see this invoice is in here. So when I go to send an invoice, I can select that template and just use it. All right. So I'd go here to my templates, use one time, use recurring, right? And then that will allow me to do that. All right. Everybody with me there? Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to exit out of my high level account there. Let me get back to that. Sorry. All right. So we have created a one-time invoice. We've created a recurring invoice. We've created an invoice with a setup fee and recurring. I've shown you how to create payment links, one-time, recurring, and setup fees, all basically the same, right? So when you combine payments with workflows, you can do a lot of other things as well. You can trigger invoice delivery after a form submission or call booking. You can send payment reminders. You can post payment workflows like thank you messages, onboarding emails, upsell offers. You can also do failed payment recovery. So you can automate retries and follow-ups to reduce churn. Now, workflows are a whole nother thing, right? And I did a training a few weeks ago or a few months ago called Winning with Workflows. So if you're not familiar with workflows, if you don't know how workflows work, you should go check that training out as well. And that will show you how to, once you understand workflows and payments, then you can connect those two things together, right? So basically the way this works is inside of your sub account. I'm just going to show you this real quick. Workflows live under the automation section. And whenever you go to create a new workflow, so I'm going to start from scratch, you always start with a trigger. And inside here, if you scroll down, there are all kinds of events that can trigger a invoice. So like one of the things you can do is you could have whenever a form is submitted. So let's say that a form is submitted. I'm just going to save that trigger. Then I could set up an action to send an invoice. Let me find it on here. Let me see if I can just search for it. So there it is, send invoice. So I can set this up so that if somebody submits a form, like they put in their information for a pre-built website, it would send an invoice when they do it. right? So again, I don't have time to go into workflows and how all this works. So you should check out the training that I did, Winning with Workflows. Again, this is another great example of how all of these foundation things in high level work together, right? So we don't have to be an expert in all of the stuff, but we do need to have an understanding of how each piece of high level works, because they all work together when we're trying to do more advanced things. Also, like if you wanted to send invoices with an AI agent, you could do that in workflows, all that stuff as well. Okay. So I want to give you guys the link to this PDF. You can see I also put the link to the Winning with Workflows training in here, so you don't have to search around for that. The link to this PDF. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to say the link real quick, and then we're also going to have it in the comments below so you can get it. So offlinesharks.com/GHL hyphen payments. Offlinesharks.com GHL hyphen payments. All right. And then that will take you to this PDF. So you can download it and you'll have all of the stuff here. Now, if you don't have high level and you're interested in giving it a shot, we do have a 30-day free trial of high level that you'll find in the PDF as well. You get like $6,500 in bonuses if you sign up through our link. You can go to that link, see all about that. So if you don't have high level, you want to give it a try, go there, get the 30-day free trial. High level has been very instrumental in the running of our seven-figure agency. As you can see, it's one tool that replaces a lot of different things, and it integrates with a lot of stuff you use. So if you don't have high level yet and you want to give it a shot, go to that link. Also, one thing I want to cover real quick, and then I'm going to open up for questions. Who on here is a Smart Directory AI user? Who on here is a Smart Directory AI user? Me. Okay. So we did roll out some new payment functionality in Smart Directory AI. So let me show you this. I'm just going to go to my Smart Directory AI demo account. So I do want to take a minute too, before I show you this, to talk about like, how does this payment work with Smart Directory AI? So with what we're talking about on the training, and by the way, if you don't know what Smart Directory AI is, you can check it out at smartdirectory.ai. It's basically a prospecting system, a way to prospect and get people to raise their hands and initiate conversations in the background, automated, that you can then use to sell them your agency or AI services. So the way that this all kind of connects is you use Smart Directory AI to initiate the conversations, to sell the services, and then you're going to send these invoices, these payment links for them to pay, right? Now, in Smart Directory AI, the software itself, which actually lives inside of High Level, it's an app that you install in your High Level account. We do have the ability to take some payments directly through the directory site so we can sell premium listings on our site. And one of the things that we added to Smart Directory AI, here I am in the Smart Directory AI dashboard. So whenever you install Smart Directory AI, this is basically all the stuff it puts in, the functionality to do all this. So we have this setting here called plans, and this is where you can create your different plans. Now on this site, you'll see that I have a free plan and I've got an annual plan that's $250. So Smart Directory AI integrates with either Stripe or a custom payment link so that you can take payments for these different plans. And you can have as many plans as you want, right? So the way that you create these plans is you just click add plan, you give it a name, you give it a description, you set your currency. We have a lot of currencies to choose from, right? You set your price. I'm going to charge $2.99. Then if you've integrated Stripe, if you've connected your Stripe, you don't have to do anything here. But if you haven't, you just toggle this little external checkout button on, and then you put whatever payment link you've created in your payment platform here. So like if I created a Google PayPal payment link, I could just paste it right here. And now Smart Directory AI, whenever somebody purchases a premium plan, it uses that payment link. Then I'm going to go over here and I can turn on or off everything I want in this plan, right? And then I can do a trial if I want, and I just click submit. And you'll see if I go back to this page, now I've got 3 plans, one for free, one for $250, one for $299. And I can do that as well. If I want to delete the plan, super duper easy. If I want to edit it, I can just edit it this way. If I want to delete it, I just click delete and Yeah, everything updates instantly on the front end of the directory site as well. So this is a new feature, the custom payment link, that we're excited to roll out for Smart Directory AI users. So if you don't want to use Stripe, if you can't use Stripe, now you have an option to be able to take payments and plans inside there as well. All right, again, if you want to download this PDF, go to offlinesharks.com/GHL-payments. All right, well, look, everybody, stay safe. Also, every Friday, we do a live coaching call on the YouTube channel. So if you just go to offlinesharks.com/live, we got to work on getting all these links, Cameron. Like, it's just like, there's like so many. Or just go to the YouTube channel. You'll see it. I show up there every week at 3 p.m. Eastern. We do some training. We hang out. I take questions. It's a lot of fun. We call it the Aloha Friday live coaching session. So show up for that. Again, thanks everybody. Really great questions. Awesome stuff. Now I want you to do what is at the very end of this PDF. And this is the real key to all of these walkthrough Wednesdays. And that is taking some simple action steps. Watching this video, you're like, yes, I get it. But I just want you to go do these 3 very simple things so you can really understand the power of high-level payments and how they work. We don't have to do anything complicated. Just go create your first payment link, send a branded invoice to yourself, and send and automate a payment reminder workflow, right? Set up some payment reminders. So high level is a great way to handle your payments. I know you guys are going to love it. Thanks again. Stay safe, practice Aloha, and I will see all of you on Friday.